every decade or so, you have this new technology. There's a personal computer, the internet coming, then it was mobile, then it's been cloud, and now it's clearly the era of AI.
The future of AI is shaped by the decisions that we make. Which direction we choose is going to have great consequences in terms of its labor market.
Plumbers and electricians and construction and steel workers and all of these jobs, in the United States, we're seeing quite a significant boom in this area.
92 million jobs are projected to disappear by 2030.
And you think you will still have a job.
If we have employees that say we don't want to use AI, that ultimately means we as a company are no longer set up for success.
AI takes the boring, repeatable tasks. Humans move up to higher value problems. If you refuse to move up, you eventually move out.
But 170 million new jobs will be created over the same period.
The top AI model is now smarter than 85% of humans. By the end of 2026, it will be smarter than 99.9% of humans.
So what do you think parents should be teaching their kids now?
Open LinkedIn right now. Somewhere in your feed, there is a post about a layoff. Maybe it's someone you know. Maybe it's someone at a company you have been eyeing. And if you work in tech, if you are an engineer in Bengaluru, an analyst in Gurgaon, a fresher who just got placed, there is a specific kind of dread that comes with it. Because these aren't random layoffs. The big 5 Indian IT firms shed nearly 58,000 employees in just 2 years. Campus hiring has hit its lowest point in over 2 decades. Fewer than 1 in 10 engineering graduates is expected to land an IT job in the current cycle. And yet, the same companies are investing billions into AI. So here is the question worth asking for. Is AI replacing you, or is it replacing the version of job you were hired to do? Because those are 2 very different problems. The World Economic Forum projects that AI will create 170 million new jobs globally while displacing 92 million, a net gain of 78 million. On paper, the job market is not shrinking. But here is the part nobody says out loud. The 92 million people who lose jobs and the 170 million who get new ones are not automatically going to be the same people. Not without a deliberate shift. That shift, understanding it and making it is what this video is about. Smaller team using AI can now produce what used to require much larger ones. That's not a prediction anymore. It's something CEOs are openly building toward. Sam Altman said there is a running bet among his tech CEO friends about which year will see the first one-person company hit $1 billion valuation, something that would have been science fiction 5 years ago. The companies making headlines right now are proof of this direction. Klarna, the buy now, pay later fintech, replaced the equivalent work of 700 customer service agents with an AI system. Amazon has laid off tens of thousands while committing $100 billion to AI infrastructure. Microsoft cut over 15,000 jobs in 2025, and their CEO revealed that roughly 30% of Microsoft code is now written by AI. Output is increasing, teams are getting leaner. Revenue per employee is going up, and the companies doing this aren't struggling, they are growing. This isn't a crisis of jobs disappearing, it's a crisis of job descriptions becoming obsolete faster than people can adapt to them. Before we get into what you should do, let's understand why this wave is different from every previous one. Every revolution has done this before. Every major technological shift in history has created a moment of fear about jobs. And every single time that fear turned out to be directionally wrong, not because disruption didn't happen, but because new work always emerged to replace the old. Before the Industrial Revolution, 9 out of 10 people worked on farms. Today, it's less than 2%. But the world didn't run out of work. The steam engine created factory jobs, electricity created electricians and engineers, computers created programmers, analysts, IT support. A major study out of MIT found that more than 60% of people working in 2018 held jobs that simply didn't exist in 1940. Technology didn't destroy work, it consistently reinvented it. When ATMs were introduced in the 1980s, everyone assumed bank tellers were done. And yes, each branch went from about 21 tellers to 13. But banks opened so many more branches that teller employment actually grew. Because ATMs handled the routine cash transactions and tellers shifted to relationship banking, to problem solving, to the things that actually required a human in the room. The job transformed. The profession didn't collapse. That's the pattern AI is following. Task versus jobs. The distinction that changes everything. AI doesn't eliminate jobs the way people fear. It eliminates the task within jobs. And that's a fundamentally different problem to solve. The most cited study on automation risk from Oxford in 2013 claimed 47% of all jobs were at high risk of being automated. That number went everywhere. It terrified a generation of workers. But when researchers went back and analyzed the same jobs at the task level, the risk number dropped to around 9% for full elimination. The rest, not eliminated, but transformed. Think about what that means for your job specifically. An analyst's role isn't just pulling data. It's also framing the right question, understanding the business context, translating numbers into decisions, and communicating it to people who don't think in spreadsheets. AI can compress the data pulling. It cannot replace the rest. For India's IT sector, this is the real shift. A large part of the $250 billion industry was built on non-core work outsourced by US tech companies, writing code to spec, running test cases, resolving tickets, documented processes. That model is now getting disrupted. The same task level work is increasingly being handled by AI at a lower cost and faster turnaround than traditional outsourcing. The industry isn't going away, but the foundation it was built on is changing, and so are the expectations from the roles within it. The speed is unlike anything before. What makes this different from the steam engine or electricity isn't the scale, it's the speed. The steam engine took 50 years to show measurable productivity effects. Electricity had a 25-year lag before factories rebuilt around it. The internet took a decade to reshape retail. ChatGPT hit 100 million users in 2 months. It now has nearly a billion weekly actively users. By 2025, the latest models surpassed average human expert score on graduate level knowledge benchmark across medicine, law, and engineering. 4 years from too dangerous to publish to smarter than most specialists. The previous outsourcing wave gave Indian engineers 2 decades to scale and adapt. This one is moving in months. That's the reason to panic. From degrees to proof of work, there is one more structural shift quietly reshaping hiring, and it's particularly important if you are early in your career. Companies are increasingly asking what can you build instead of where did you study. Google, IBM, Apple, some of the most credentialed companies in the world have been dropping mandatory degree requirements for years. LinkedIn's research found that skill-based hiring could expand India's available talent pool by more than 11 times. Proof of work is beginning to matter more than proof of education, and AI makes proof of work cheaper to produce than ever before. The uncomfortable reality is that the job most immediately at risk aren't the least skilled ones. They are the entry-level knowledge jobs, roles where someone was hired to do well-defined, repeatable, cognitive tasks. The roles that used to be the stepping stone into a career are the ones being compressed fastest. That's not a reason to give up. It's a reason to accelerate in judgment, in capability, in the kind of value you create that can help amplify. How to stay relevant? So what does that actually look like? First, think in terms of leverage. The most important shift isn't a skill, it's a mindset. Move from what skills do I have to how much can I produce with what I know. AI gives every individual enormous leverage. A developer who understands system architecture and can direct AI tools effectively can now produce what used to require a team. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, said it plainly. You are not going to lose your job to an AI, but you are going to lose your job to someone who uses AI. That's the real competition. Not the AI. High agency people are the ones who don't wait to be told. If you are an engineer who notices a repetitive task on your team, say a data update that runs every Monday or a report that gets manually built every sprint, the move is to automate it and bring it to your lead. You made something useful without being asked. That compounds. Over time, in lean teams, that kind of initiative is worth more than years of seniority. Second, lead with context, not just execution. Whether you are directing AI, managing a junior, or presenting to a stakeholder, the people who will win are the ones who can define why before they define what. An engineer without the context says, write this function, pass these test cases, submit the PR. A context-oriented engineer says, our users are dropping off after onboarding. I think the problem is here, but help me pressure test that. The second framing produces better outcomes whether you are prompting an AI, briefing a teammate, or pitching to your manager. It's also the framing that's much harder to automate because it requires actual understanding of the problem, not just the specification. The people who will lead teams in the next decade are not the ones who are best at specifying tasks. They are the ones who are best at defining problems worth solving. Third, build depth. Make yourself T-shaped. AI makes it dangerously easy to be shallow in almost any subject. That's the trap. There is a concept called the T-shaped professional. The vertical bar is deep expertise in your domain. The thing you understand so well that AI can assist you but cannot replace your judgment. The horizontal bar is enough breadth to collaborate across functions, understand what's happening in adjacent domains, and spot where AI can apply it intelligently. Here is what AI has changed. It makes the horizontal bar much faster to build. You can now develop a working understanding of front-end development, data modeling, product thinking, or financial analysis in weeks, not years. But it takes the vertical bar more important, not less. Deep expertise is what lets you evaluate AI output critically, catch its errors, and go beyond its defaults. Shallow knowledge gets automated, deep knowledge gets amplified. The question to ask yourself about any skill you are building: has this been valuable for 100 years or 3 years? Critical thinking, problem framing, communication, building trust with client, those skills survived the printing press, the computer, and the internet. They will survive this too. Fourth, design AI into your work. There is a real difference between using AI as glorified search engine and actually engineering AI into your workflow. The next level looks like this. You define exactly what input a task requires, what a good output looks like, and where human judgment needs to enter the loop. You treat AI like a capable but imperfect collaborator. You review its work, you correct it, you build the system over time. If you can build a workflow where AI handles the information gathering, the first draft generation, the pattern detection, and you handle the judgment, the validation, the communication, you have multiplied your output without multiplying your hours. This isn't a technical skill, it's a system thinking skill. And it's one that transfers across every role, every industry, and every future version of AI that comes after the one we have now. Let's bring this back to you specifically. If you are a software engineer, the value in your role is shifting from writing code to owning systems. AI can generate a working API in minutes, but it can't decide which API to build. The job isn't disappearing, but the ratio of time you spend writing versus thinking is flipping. Companies increasingly expect even junior engineers to think like system owners from day one. If you are an analyst, if your role right now is primarily SQL queries and dashboards, AI will compress that work, and that is actually the opportunity. The time you are spending pulling data gets freed up for the work that actually drives decision. Explaining why something is happening, recommending what the business should do about it, that's where the leverage is, and that's where the premium is going. If you are a PM or builder, the old jobs of writing detailed PRDs and coordinating handoffs is the most easily automated part of the role. What stands out now is being able to go from idea to working prototype in 30 minutes and having a point of view strong enough to defend it. The bar for what doing the job means has risen, but so has what's possible. Across all of these roles, the pattern is identical. AI removes execution-heavy work and raises the value of judgment, taste, and ownership. India's IT industry was built on a service model, doing execution work for the world at scale and at low cost. AI is directly compressing that layer. The companies that built on it are already restructuring. But India also has 17 million developers on GitHub, on track to become the world's largest developer community within few years. India has produced dozens of SaaS companies now operating at global scale. The country's AI talent demand is projected to nearly double over the next 2 years, with only one qualified engineer available for every 10 open AI roles. The service model is contracting. The product and AI model is expanding. Every structural shift of this kind creates a window, a period where the people who move early get disproportionate access to the roles, the salaries, and the trajectories that come with the new model. Use AI to move faster and produce more. Build things, ship things, learn from what works and iterate. AI gives you the starting point and the leverage, but the direction still comes from you. Your judgment about what's worth building, your curiosity about what's changing, your ability to keep learning faster than the tools around you are evolving. The shift is happening whether you are ready or not. The question is which side of it you are going to be on. If you are going to compete with AI, you might as well stay updated with it. So hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.